if you are in grade 10, grade 9, in high school, bruv, talk to strangers, it helps. You don't know who's gonna be your next friend. And then in the adult world, don't be scared to approach guys. This episode is inspired by something that happened to me 7+ years ago. I was watching one of South Africa's dating shows. I think it was Date My Family, or I don't know what it was. And then one of the, will I say bachelors, or one of the potential dates said that they prefer having okay, flip my tongue. They prefer having meaningful conversations over small talk. I didn't get it back then because I was like, what the flip is a meaningful conversation? 7 years ago was like a long time ago. I think I was a kid or entering my early teenage stages. I don't know. So, basically, I was confused by it, and then, years passed by, 7 years later, I'm sitting here talking to you about this. What is it about small talk being small talk, and why is it not valued? And yeah, another thing that inspired this episode is by, it's also inspired by my friend. We're talking about this. I asked her, like, I think a week ago, like, what is small talk and what is the benefit of small talk, and do you like small talk? And then she said to me that, small talk is something that is actually not necessary, but it will take part in a conversation between you and whomever, And I was like, okay. And then she said that small talk is natural, it's something that happens. It just happens because we are all human. Because small talk starts a conversation. Small talk builds a foundation between you and the next person, the person that you are meeting right now. I think that maybe you're seated right now, you're going to work, maybe you're at work, or you're in class, or maybe in your room, and you see somebody next to you and you're like, dang man, hi, how are you doing? That is small talk, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I feel like in today's time, low key, people are either scared of small talk, or they just find it weird, but then there's nothing weird about it, because, like, I think asking somebody how you're doing is valuable than not asking them how they are doing. You understand? And you can't meet somebody without saying those two lines, hi, how are you doing? That would be like weird, unless you are on some serious case where you are like, even detectives, bruv, if it's a serious matter, they be like, hi, how are you doing, ma'am? We are here to investigate on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You understand? They don't just get there, we are here to investigate. No, it's all rude and stuff. So, like, why do people dislike small talk? Let's talk about this, man. I think it's a matter of, okay, I've been investigating and doing my research. Yes, I do my research. I found out that, like, small talk is kind of not preferred because it's kind of repetitive and it gets a bit redundant, and bro, I don't know how many people approach you in one day for some people to find small talk annoying, but I mean, it's a necessity, bro. Without small talk, you can't build a foundation with somebody. I believe so, because small talk opens the gates to other things to talk about with the next person, you know. And yeah, so small talk, basically, for those who don't know what it is, it's basically a short conversation, not a short conversation, but, like, it's basically the basic, hi, how are you doing? You know, that is small talk. Hi, how's the weather? That is small talk. And then, yeah, but then I believe that small talk is actually necessary. I don't know what you guys think. The comment sections are down there for you guys to comment. And yeah, I'll see you guys down there. Let's say somebody is bad with small talk. How does one improve small talk? Well, I believe that, like, talking to people or talking to strangers is a matter of practicing, whether same sex to same sex or different sexes talking to one another. You need practice. I mean, like, also your environment matters. I mean, if you're in the same bus and you see the same person, I think you can small talk your way to forming a serious talk with them. Depending on if both of you guys want to form a relationship with each other. And when I say relationship, I'm talking about friendship, romantic relationship, fatherly relationship, sisterly, and brotherhood. You know what I'm talking about. Any type of relationship, it has to start somewhere. You like it has to start somewhere. And this thing of like, I mean, you get to find it with girls a lot, you know. I'm sorry for my sisters listening. I'm sorry, but this is actually mostly it's you guys. We as guys, we have this well, I speak for myself and I say we. I'm part of that. I'm on that boat, like, I mean, when we approach, I mean, obviously we don't know you. So like okay, maybe we've seen you once or twice. So obviously when we get there, you gotta start somewhere, bro. You gotta start somewhere. You can't just get off the dome and be like, yo, hi, I'm this and that. I've seen your pictures on Instagram, da 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 da. Now this person is giving you a full on detail about you without them knowing you. That doesn't make sense. And then you'll be creeped out and then you wanna walk away. So all I'm saying is that, for guys approaching girls, don't be scared of small talk because you actually need it. And girls, if a dude approaches you, I think that, he's making your life easier because, like, I mean, maybe there could be a potential, I don't know what, but then you guys might have a potential special relationship for the future. So he is making things easier because we all know, let's be honest, girls don't know how to approach. But then that's a topic for another day. I'm not here to target females, bro, because yeah, yeah, women for change. So yeah, coming to that. So in a scenario, this is the scenario. You don't know how to small talk. Like that's the basic scenario. Somebody doesn't know how to small talk. It's like tough. Like you don't know how to talk. I think, like I say, practice. But then how does somebody learn to small talk? I think the best thing is like just start with the simple highs, man. Greet your neighbors. Hi, how you doing? Hi, I see that your lawn is doing well. What's up with that? All these scenarios are different. That's the thing. But then it's easy, especially like if on this every single day you see the same person. That will be the best practice ever. Maybe you see the same classmate. Best practice ever. But then it's all up to you if you want to improve. You understand? Now, meaningful conversations. The big one, meaningful conversation. What is a meaningful conversation? What is a meaningful conversation? Hmm. You know, 7 years ago, I thought like it was a conversation that has meaning, but but I feel like this is like two words that are just combined. People are just giving things terms and defin. They're just giving things words to make them sensible or recognized. So according to research again, it says that meaningful conversation is actually a conversation that has a connection between two people. And you know I don't know. Well, for me personally, I would say that a meaningful conversation is just a conversation that has like, I don't know, what can I say? Not that it has meaning according to you, I mean like the adjective, but then I would say that it's a conversation that has a purpose. You understand? And that sounds boring. I know. I mean, like you can't plan conversations and be like, unless it's a serious family matter or between you and your specific other. Understandable. However, like let's say, I mean, you are out there in the world and then you don't know somebody. How will you have a meaningful conversation with them without that small talk that you actually need? I mean, if detectives start with small talk before they investigate the potential suspect or the potential witness or witnesses, they start with small talk. So if you're gonna go out there in the world and start meaningful conversation without small talk, bro, it's gonna be weird, bro. And apparently meaningful conversations they help with providing deep connection between human beings, because with that meaningful or purpose for that conversation, if somebody really cares about whatever you're saying, it can create a bond between the two of you guys or the three of you guys, depending on how many y'all are and how many of y'all care about the topic at hand. You get, and yeah, I kind of feel weird that this this episode is like about the simplest thing, which is communication. Okay, not communication, but it's episode 9 we did talk about communication, and somehow I forgot to mention this. That's the third inspiration, the communication part, because we talked about conversations, and here we are. We're talking about small talk versus um you know versus meaningful conversation, but we'll come to that later. I would like to talk about how to manage conversations. You know, uh, manage conversation management, conversational management. No, how to manage conversation, bro. I don't know. Maybe you know. I don't know. Maybe now I have the not the gift, but then maybe the privilege. I don't know, but I can speak with anyone. Like I don't have a problem with speaking with people because it's a fun thing to do. Because I have this thing in my mind that everybody has something interesting to say, so I go off with that, and then I put them on the spotlight, and then they start rambling, and then Somara, it's a conversation, but then them talking more than me doesn't make it a conversation. Now it's an interview. You get what I'm saying? But then how do you manage a conversation? Let's be honest, bro. Managing a conversation should be something that's natural, because we as human beings are social beings, and we do need those social interactions to build a community, to build a club, or whatever group you guys want to form. You gotta talk to the next person, bro. So, but then how do you manage that conversation? I think, and maybe no. Okay, I'm just gonna lay out my advice out there. Like when somebody speaks, bro, like don't you know this thing of like you know I mean, there was this other scenario whereby, but then that's a different scenario. In episode 9, we're talking about, there was a guy who mentioned that his mom talks more than she talks about his business. That's because, well, that's a whole different dynamic. But then let's just say that is what's happening right now. You're in a spot whereby you met somebody, and then this person is always talking about themselves, but then not in a narcissistic way, but then as in like they are telling you about whatever they are doing. So whatever interest they're talking about, try to ask deeper about it. If you care about it, you shouldn't just ask, because a conversation should be something flowing, words to somebody's ears, words to your ears. That's how it works. It shouldn't be something that's forced. So it's just let it happen. Ask questions about, yo, bro. Oh, you mentioned this. Oh, you like apples more than oranges. Why? And then they tell you that maybe it betters their skin. And then you're like, oh, dang, do you think if I try it, it will work out? Then they say, yeah, but then you're like, no, I'm allergic to oranges. I forgot. Then boom, you understand? Now that's a conversation. But then every single conversation has a dying point, in which my friend mentioned. There's a point whereby every single conversation gets to die down. And then I used to be scared of it, because I feel like maybe now, like, why are we quiet and looking at each other? I used to find that weird, but then I realized, oh, no, it happens. When a conversation ends, or when the topic ends, things will die down a bit, and it will, maybe somebody will be like, oh, dang, look at this post and on TikTok. Because right now I think it's easier to reference things, and then now you guys start talking about them. That is way easier compared to, I don't know how they did it back then. I mean, when conversations die down, guys, there's nothing wrong with that. I think like that's a moment maybe for both of you guys to take in whatever the other person has said, what they have said to you, and then just take it in, bro, and then store it in your mind. Then okay, store it in your mind that when the time comes for the next conversation, and maybe the conversation dies down, maybe you can talk about the last time the conversation died down. Like, oh man, remember when you told me this? Yeah, I tried it out. Ba 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 ba. But then don't lie. Just this is just an example. It just happens naturally. So don't be like me, whereby you're scared, whereby you guys are just looking at each other, and then you're like, Flip, what do we talk? What do I talk about now? You don't have to talk all the time, because I believe that, like, silence is louder. Because the more somebody spends time with you in silence, you guys are somehow bonding. I don't know how to explain it in words. Welcome to Reddit Reacts, whereby it's a segment of the podcast whereby I go to Reddit, and then I find some scenarios, and then we try to break it down together, and then you guys tell me what you think. Okay, in the comment sections, you are more than welcome. Hi guys, I am a 19-year-old guy who does not know how to speak properly. I sat in my home for 2 years after my high school. Now I started going to college. I'm having a hard time to have sensible and fun conversation with other people. Damn, man. I can start a conversation with a stranger, but I cannot keep it going like a normal person. I find it hard to have an interactive conversation with others. Even when I was a kid, I had hard time making friends. I think the reason for my inability to interact with people in society properly is because my parents didn't used to take me to any social events like meeting their friends or colleagues, so I was not able to improve my social skills since childhood. Even my father did not used to speak much in home. He also does not have any friends or good social skills. So I might have got his genes. So how can I improve my social skills and build friend networks? Have a good have bro, where's the punctuation marks? I'm sorry, guys. Guys, I'm sorry, dog. Like, okay, wait. So how can I improve my social skills and build friend network, have a good communication skills, and be more interactive and able to talk to anyone and keep the conversation going so the opposite person is also interested in hanging out with me? Okay, like I said, guys, having conversations and practicing conversations is like a muscle. You have to train it. Like it's a natural thing. Like it will come naturally. However, with him, he's 19 years old. You know, he's been in the house for 2 years. You know, after his high school. Dang, man, that's a whole lot of social isolation, bro. Like, trust me, from my XP, it ain't nice. You know, it ain't nice being away from society. But then he says that he can start a conversation with a stranger, but cannot keep it going like a normal person. Okay, a stranger, somebody you don't know, already, like, small talk can have a hand. It can have a helping hand in getting to understand the fundamentals of the person. But for the conversation to get going even more further, it's either the next person whom you're talking to can, like, ask you questions about yourself, or you can maybe throw a little bit of hints and be like, oh, nah, I like football more than basketball. Then they're like, oh, for real, what makes it different? Oh, some of you guys are having a conversation. But then if it's a stranger, it's gonna be tough because you guys don't know each other, unless, like I said, if at the same every single morning when you wake up and take transport to wherever you're going and you see the same guy, you guys are gonna, like, somehow, I have this saying that if you put two people in an elevator, once and the elevator gets stuck, and once the elevator doors get open, they will come out as friends other than strangers. Because why? They are trapped in the same situation, but then that's a different scenario. But then what I'm saying is, if human beings can have something to relate to with each other, that's where a relationship is formed. That's where the word relationship comes from, because you guys are supposed to have some sort of relation. But with him, it's like it's a stranger. And like with strangers, it's a 50-50 thing, depending on them, if they also find you interesting. You understand? Okay, so with him, I don't know. He says here, I find it hard to have an interactive conversation with others. What is making it hard? Like, is it starting, getting the confidence to approach? But then he says that, okay, but there's something important. He says that even when I was a kid, I had a hard time making friends. Oh yeah, guys, okay, flashback, another flashback, yes, another one. At home, they always assume that I'm the shy one, but then not really. I don't know, but I'm not shy. So I remember when I was a kid, back in primary, you man. Okay, sorry about the accent. Okay, cool. I always had this thing. I don't know why, but then my mom would always say, "Go make friends, go make friends," and then, like, as if I don't have, as if I'm the shy one. But then I don't know. It just happens. The littlest thing. Let's say Jeffrey over there is holding a soccer ball, and then you get there like, "Oh man, pass the ball." Kids somehow they have a natural way of being friends. In the adult world, well, like I said, you guys have to find a certain relation to get to wherever the conversation will go. That's just how it is. Like I said in episode 9, you can't control the conversation. That's the sad part. You can control where the conversation is going, but you cannot control how it goes, because the next person, you don't know if they're interested in you. If they were interested in you, they would ask you questions. Yo, oh, you're from this point of town. Okay, how's it that side? I would like to come. Oh, okay, cool. You can pull up, and then we'll try 1 2 and 1 2. Easy. You see, a conversation is between two or more people. It has to gel. It has to happen naturally. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe, sorry, but maybe they're not interested. But then If you guys are stuck in an elevator, bro, trust me, when it opens, you guys will be good. Okay, so going to the comment sections, says here, I've been cycling back and forth from extreme isolation periods leading to complete loss of speech ability to being extremely sociable and articulate at other times. And I can assure you, it's just like a muscle. The muscle atrophied in the long isolation times when I was also depressed, but it would get quickly better once I was out there engaging with real people. On the story that I read to you guys, he says here it's not easy to transition, just like it's not easy to build up muscles at first. But whenever I feel myself falling back to long periods of not talking to people, I force myself to use it again however I can. One important factor is the emotions associated with the conversations. Get physically close to people who are interested in the things you are psyched about, and you will naturally want to give opinions on that shared topic, even if it's really difficult and awkward at first. We have so much room to grow when it comes to mental functions. Once you experience it, you will never doubt it. Best of luck, mate. Okay, that was the first comment. The second one says here, I think it's a great step that you can start a conversation with a stranger. Honestly, you are already ahead of the game. I'm not understanding what you mean by keep it going like a normal person, because there are so many scenarios I can think of where I only talk to someone for a short period of time, but then catch up later with them if they are open to it. It sounds like you may be having trouble relating to others, or maybe just transitioning it from an initial interaction to follow up interactions. I loved someone else's idea about using a social skills training app so you know what to say, etc. But it is also important to understand what natural progression looks like. Making friendships is not filling a bucket with water one time and it's done. It's like watering a plant. Timing and amount of water matters. Or timing and amount of water matters. So many interactions can add up in the end. I usually recommend people to start going to group things that have regular meetings, like a book club, board game club, or somewhere where you will see the same people again and again. That way you can get to know many people at the same time, but in small doses. Good luck to you. You have got this. I don't know. I'm thinking about reading the last one. I've been extremely shy my whole life. In fact, I joined this group as a way to discuss and improve my social skills. I am retired now, as well as divorced, so I don't have the built in verbal stimulation that comes with work or marriage. However, during my career, it was something that I had to overcome to some extent. All that I can say is that sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. Listening more and speaking less is always okay. Ask an open minded question like, what do you think about the chemistry professor? Or something irrelevant to your situation. If you have a sport or hobby that you enjoy, then something like, I just got my chess ranking to 1000, or just got X level on a video game. Do you ever play? If you are really struggling, there are psych counselors that could help. All I'm saying to you guys, talk to whomever. You know this thing of don't talk to strangers. If you are in grade 10, grade 9, in high school, bruv, talk to strangers. It helps. You don't know who's gonna be your next friend, or how they're gonna help you in the future. And then in the adult world, don't be scared to approach guys. We all need to connect one day because we're all socials. And yeah, to the people out there who can't talk, man, just start with a simple hello and they will say hello back. And then little by little, little by little. And yeah, guys, that's it for me. I'm glad to be spending time with you guys. And thank you for checking out this podcast episode 10, whereby we talk about small talk, meaningful talk, and how to manage it. And thank you guys for listening. And I hope you're okay, doing better than before. And yeah, it's like I didn't say it properly. Dang, man, for the first time I didn't say it properly. B24, be better than before. And yeah, catch you guys on the next one.